Hello friends, welcome back to my cottage kitchen. Today we're going to be doing 4 cottagecore themed recipes for spring. We're going to be making a butterfly pea flower lemonade, strawberry chamomile tarts, garden focaccia, and a vegan potato leek soup. Let's get started. Our first recipe is for this beautiful butterfly pea flower lemonade. If you're not familiar with butterfly pea flowers, they create a naturally blue tea that turns a shade of purpley pink when mixed with an acid like lemon juice or lime juice. We're going to start by making a butterfly pea flower simple syrup. We'll add a half a cup of sugar, a quarter of a cup of butterfly pea flowers, and a half cup of boiling water. And we'll mix all of that together until the sugar dissolves completely. So as you can see, it's already turning a very deep blue indigo color. I'm going to set this aside and let it keep brewing while I prep the lemon and water. We'll need a half cup of fresh lemon juice, which is the juice from about 2 to 3 lemons. I'm adding this to a pitcher with 3½ cups of cold filtered water. And then I'll strain out our simple syrup. Now you can either serve this lemonade in a pitcher by pouring the simple syrup into the bottom and then topping it off with the lemon and water mixture, which will create a beautiful purple gradient in the pitcher. But I want to serve it in individual glasses, so I'm going to pour a little bit of the simple syrup into each glass and then top it off with the lemon water mixture. I like to garnish each glass with a lemon slice and always serve it with a straw so that whoever is enjoying it can mix it together before they drink it. The lemonade is perfectly sweet and so refreshing, and honestly you really can't taste the butterfly pea flowers in this recipe. They're really just for the color, but I actually don't love their flavor on their own anyway, so I just like to use them to make colorful food. This recipe is so much fun to make and share with others. I hope you love it as much as I do. Moving right along to our strawberry chamomile tart. This vegan strawberry chamomile tart is such a great treat for spring or summer. It's made with an almond flour crust and a creamy strawberry filling made from blended cashews and coconut cream. You'll start by making the crust. We'll combine 2 cups of almond flour, 1/3 of a cup of melted vegan butter or coconut oil, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 1/4 of a cup of sugar, and a pinch of salt. And mix everything together until the dough is soft and completely combined. And then we'll divide the dough into tart pans. You can use vegan butter or coconut oil to grease them. If you don't have tart pans, you can use a pie pan instead. Just make sure to grease it really well. So I'm pressing the dough into an even layer on the bottom of the pans, and we're going to bake them at 400 degrees for about 8 to 10 minutes. Next, we'll make the filling. We'll brew about 3 tablespoons or 3 tea bags of chamomile tea in a half of a cup of boiling water. And I'll set this aside to steep while I make the rest of the filling. To a blender, we'll add 1 cup of cashews that have been soaked overnight. And then I'm taking a can of coconut milk that I've chilled in the fridge overnight to separate, and I'm scooping out all of the solid coconut cream to add to the blender. And then I'll add 1 cup of chopped strawberries. Feel free to use frozen strawberries here too. 2 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice, 4 tablespoons of maple syrup, and a teaspoon of vanilla. And finally, we'll strain the tea. I'm using a spoon to really squeeze out all of the liquid. And then we'll blend it up until it's completely smooth. Once the tart shells are cool, we'll divide the mixture evenly among them and pop them into the freezer for a few hours to set. When you're ready to enjoy them, take them out of the molds and let them thaw for about 10 minutes, and then top them with fresh sliced strawberries. This vegan potato leek soup with cashew cream is so savory and rich. It's one of my favorite soups, especially for spring, and it's made with just a few simple ingredients. We'll start by making the cashew cream. To a blender, we'll add 1 cup of cashews that have been soaked overnight, 1 cup of nutritional yeast, 1 cup of filtered water, and 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt. And we'll blend it all up until it's perfectly smooth. Next, we'll prep the leeks. I'm going to cut off the ends and then slice them down the middle and chop them. We're going to use just the white and light green parts of 4 leeks in this recipe. So if you've cooked with leeks before, you know that there's usually a lot of dirt in the leaves. So to get all of it out, I'm going to mix the chopped leeks in cold water, then drain and rinse them, and repeat this a couple of times. Then I'll peel and roughly chop 1.5 pounds of potatoes and 1 small head of cauliflower. Then to my Dutch oven over medium heat, I'll add 4 tablespoons of vegan butter, followed by the leeks, and cook them until they're soft. Then I'll add 4 cloves of minced garlic and the chopped cauliflower and potatoes. Next, we'll add 4 cups of reduced sodium vegetable broth. I'm using my favorite, Better Than Bouillon, and a few sprigs of fresh thyme, 2 bay leaves, and 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. We'll bring the soup to a gentle boil and then simmer for about 20 minutes. Then we'll remove the thyme and bay leaves and blend the soup. I'm using an immersion blender here, but you can also puree this in a regular blender in batches. Once the soup is pureed, we'll stir in the cashew cream. And I love garnishing this soup with chives and pepper. Potatoes mixed with the cashew cream makes the soup so savory and creamy, and then adding in the leeks and garlic, it's the perfect combination. I love seeing bread art on social media, and I'm so excited to try this recipe. I followed Alexandra Cook's recipe for this focaccia, and it turned out so amazing. I can't recommend it enough. But you can really use any focaccia recipe for the base and then just decorate it with veggies and herbs with this method. I prepped my dough in advance by letting it rise overnight, and then I spread it into a pan with lots of olive oil and let it rise for 3 more hours. So what we're going to do is we'll take the veggies and the herbs, and we can do whatever design we want, but just push them really far into the focaccia because it's going to spring back up. We're using green onions, red onions, mini bell pepper slices, grape tomatoes, thyme, rosemary, and chives. Then we'll brush the top with a generous amount of olive oil so that the veggies don't burn, and then sprinkle it with kosher salt and bake it at 425 for 20 to 25 minutes. Oh my gosh! It looks so pretty! I think that's the soup I already started eating. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed these recipes if you try them. And let me know if you'd like to see more cottage kitchen vlogs like these in the future. This one was so much fun to make, and I have a lot of other recipes to share if you're interested. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time.